These therefore will survive more and hence are selected by nature. He called it natural selection and implied it as a mechanism of evolution. Let us also remember that Alfred Wallace, a naturalist who worked in Malay archipelago, had also come to similar conclusions around the same time. In due course of time, apparently new types of organisms are recognizable. All the existing life forms share similarities and share common ancestors. However, these ancestors were present at different periods in the history of Earth, epochs, periods, and eras. The the geological history of each of Earth closely correlates with the biological history of Earth. A common permissible conclusion is that Earth is very old, not thousand of years as was thought earlier, but billions of years. What are the evidences for evolution? Evidence that evolution of life forms has indeed taken place on Earth has come from many quarters. Fossils are remains of hard parts of hard parts of life forms found in rock. Rocks form sediments, and a cross section of Earth's crust indicates the arrangement of sediments one over the other during the long history of Earth. Different aged rock sediments contain fossils of different life forms who probably died during the formation of the particular sediment. Some of them appear similar to modern organisms. They represent extinct organisms. A study of fossil is in different sedimentary layers indicates just indicates the geological period in which they existed. The study showed that life forms varied over time, and certain life forms are restricted to certain geological time spans. Hence, new forms of life have arisen at different times of history. All this is called paleontological paleontology 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 paleontological 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 evidence. Do you remember how the ages of fossils are calculated? Do you recollect the method of radioactive dating and the principles behind the procedure, procedure. Embryological support for evolution was also proposed by Ernst Haeckel based upon the observation of certain features during embryonic stage common to all vertebrates that are absent in adults. For example, the embryos of all vertebrates, including human, develop a row of vestigial gill slits just behind the head, and it is a functional organ only in fish and not found in any other adult vertebrates. Um, where was I? However, this proposal was disapproved on careful study found by Carl Ernst von Baer. He noted that embryos never passed through the adult stages of other animals. Motherfucker. Ernst Haeckel proposed this theory, and Ernst von Baer, disapproved it. What was this written by a seventh grader? Comparative, comparative anatomy and morphology shows the similarities and differences among organisms of today and those that existed years ago. Such similarities Jesus, can be interpreted, interpret, interpreted, interpreted, interpreted interpreted, can be can be interpreted to understand whether common ancestors were shared or not. For example, whales, bats, cheetah, and human, all mammals, share similarities in the pattern of bones or forelimbs. Though these forelimbs perform different functions in these animals, they have similar anatomical structure. All of them have humerus, radius, ulna, carpal, metacarpal phalanges in their forelimbs. Hence, in these animals, the same structure developed along different directions due to adaptations to different needs. This is divergent evolution, and these structures are homologous. Homology indicates common ancestry. Other examples are vertebrate hearts or brains. In plants also, the thorns and tendrils of bougainvillea and cucurbita represent homology. Homology is based on homology. Let me just underline this. Homology is based on different evolution, on divergent evolution, whereas analogy is based on it refers to a situation exactly opposite. Wings of butterfly and the birds and of birds look alike. They are not anatomically similar structures, though they perform similar functions. Hence, analogous structures are a result of convergent evolution. Different structures having the same functions and hence having similarities. Other examples of analogy are the eyes of the octopus and mammals or the flippers of penguins and dolphins. Fun fact about the eyes of octopus, our eyes are arranged in such a way that we have a blind spot. Right about here, we have a blind spot because the eyes are like on the back of the retina. They are arranged concentrically so that at a certain point both the eyes cannot see, like somewhere around here there's a blind spot, we can't see it. Octopuses do not have that because they do not have I think the arrangement of the cone cells are different in that it is flat, which allows for more like parallel. I am explaining it terribly, but the point being that they are evolved differently. We know that because of the blind spot. Else we would not know. They are different tissues. One can say that it is the similar habitat that has resulted in different groups of organisms, but toward the same function. Sweet potato root modification and potato stem modification is another example of analogy. In the same line of argument similarities in proteins and genes performing a given function among what the fuck? Oh, my T-shirt is fucking invisible. Should I just boop? A boop. Yeah, this is the perfect optimal temperature. This is how we communicate. Somewhere around here. Somewhere around here. These biochemical similarities point to the same shared ancestry as structural similarities among diverse. Oh, good God, help me. Shared ancestry as structural similarities among diverse organisms. Man has bred selected plants and animals for agriculture, horticulture, sport, or security. Man has domesticated many wild animals and crops. This intensive breeding program has created Has created breeds that differ from other breeds that are dogs, but for example, dogs that are, but still are of the same group, of the same species. Dogs can interbreed. It is argued that if within hundreds of years man could create new breeds, could not nature have done the same over millions of years? One of the interesting observations supporting evolution by natural selection comes from England in a collection of moths made in 1950s. Um, it is argued that if within hundreds of years man could create new breeds, could not nature have done the same over millions of years? Another interesting observation supporting evolution by natural selection comes from England in a collection of moths made in 1850s, that is before industrialization set in. I, I look terrible. Also, I'm really soft spoken right now, so I don't know if you can even fucking hear me. There's a lamp here. How could that be? There's a lamp here. Oh. Oh. Um, it was observed that there were more white-winged moths on trees than dark-winged or melanized moths. However, collection in the collection carried out from the same area, but after industrialization, that is, in 1920, there were more dark-winged moths in the same area. That is, proportion was reversed. The explanation put forth for this observation was that predators will spot a moth against a contrasting background. During the post industrialization period, the tree trunks became dark due to industrial smoke and soot. During the Wilbur soot. During this condition, the white-winged moth did not survive due to predators. Dark-winged or melanized moths survived. Before industrialization set in, thick growth of almost white-colored lichen